मां विष्णुपादाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्नि नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Yes. So when I was reading today's verses, 3 4 verses before, just I was going through those verses. So it was very wonderful, amazing verses, and was very happy to read all those verses. Different kind of joy, different kind of solace, and those verses were very inspiring. So I request everyone, those who have started reading Bhagavad Gita, it is good. Those who have not yet started, please start. And those who have already read, please read it again. So it will help. So we'll start with today's class. Last class, anyone remembers what we discussed? Anyone would like to share? Yes.
Guruji, we had discussed the verse karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phal heturbhur mate sangostva karmani.
Yes, correct.
तो उसमें सकर्म विकर्म और अकर्म के बारे में बतलाया गया था.
Yes.
जो प्राकृतिक गुणों से जो हमें जो कर्म मिले हैं वो हमें करने चाहिए बिना बिना किसी फल की इच्छा के. और विकर्म जो मतलब जो अगर उनके विरुद्ध अगर कुछ काम करते हैं तो वो विकर्म होते हैं, वो हमें नहीं करने चाहिए. और अकर्म का मतलब है जब हम कर्म ना करने की हमारी प्रवृत्ति हो जाए तो वो भी नहीं होनी चाहिए.
Yes. And akarma also includes acting or doing work in bhakti yoga. That is also akarma. Akarma basically is of two type. One is not doing anything, that is known as inaction. Not performing any kind of work is inaction, which leads to sinful reaction. We get sin out of that. We don't want to perform our prescribed duties. That is known as inaction or akarma. Again, there is one more category which is known as in akarma only. In that akarma, we act on the platform of bhakti yoga. We perform our prescribed duties or duties for the pleasure of the Krishna and for Krishna. That is akarma. So we'll begin today's shlokas with today's, that is 48th verse. Repeat. Yogastha kuru karmani संगम त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धि असिद्ध्यो यम भूत्वा समात्वं योग उच्यते. Anyone would like to chant the shloka?
जगस्तः कुरुकर्मणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धा सिद्धो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते.
Anyone else would like to try?
Yes, Prabhuji. योगास्तः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनंजया सिद्धि असिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग युच्यते.
Wonderful. Someone else would like to try?
योगस्थः कुरु कर्मणि संगम त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धि असिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते.
Yes, someone else would like to chant the shloka?
योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धि सिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते.
Wonderful. Yes, someone else?
योगस्था कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धि असिद्धियों समो भूत्वा तमत्वं योग उच्यते.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll read the translation now. Study first in yoga, O Arjuna. Perform your duty and abandon all attachment to success or failure. Such evenness of mind is called yoga. So here, Krishna is giving the definition of the yoga. What is that? Acting or performing our actions and without any attachment to success or failure. That is yoga. And those action in connection with Supreme. Such thing is known as yoga. We'll read the purport. Further, it is very nicely clarified. Krishna tells Arjuna that he should act in yoga. And what is that yoga? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the Supreme by controlling the ever-disturbing senses. And who is the Supreme? The Supreme is the Lord. And because he himself is telling Arjuna to fight, Arjuna has nothing to do with the results of the fight. Gain or victory are Krishna's concern. Arjuna is simply advised to act according to the dictation of Krishna. The following of Krishna's dictation is real yoga, and this is practiced in the process called Krishna consciousness. And by Krishna consciousness only one can give up the sense of proprietorship. One has to become the servant of Krishna or the servant of Krishna. That is the right way to discharge duty in Krishna consciousness, which alone can help one to act in yoga. Now, while practicing yoga, there are certain things which are required. One of them is to control the senses, to control the mind, yama, niyama, all the rules and regulations we have to follow so that we can control the mind. After controlling mind, it is easy or it becomes easy to connect or to concentrate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Krishna is telling how Arjuna should act in this consciousness, how he should act based on this consciousness. And Krishna himself is telling Arjuna that you being a Kshatriya, and Kshatriya Dharma is to give protection to the citizens, to fight against adharma, to protect the society against all negative forces. That is the duty of a Kshatriya. Just like army protects a nation from the invaders, same way it is Arjuna's duty to protect the other, to protect the dharma, because he is a Kshatriya. So Krishna, he is advising Arjuna that you should fight in spite of result. Whatever result you may get, whether you win the war or you lose the war, you should not be concerned about that. You should not be concerned about that. Simply you should fight. And acting or performing action for Krishna's pleasure or Krishna's satisfaction and for Krishna is the yoga, is known as karma yoga. In previous verse, Krishna told, You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Fruits are not in your hand. Krishna is clearly telling fruits are not in your hand. So whether you win the war or you lose the war, you should simply execute your duty, prescribed duty. And before Kshatriya, Arjuna is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. He is part and parcel. He belongs to Krishna. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Mame Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. All the living entities are his part and parcel. So all the living entities has a duty or dharma. Dharma means what? Just like sugar is there. Sugar dharma is what? To give sweetness. That is sugar dharma. Suppose that sugar does not give the sweetness, will not consider more as a sugar, will say something else. Suppose it give a salty taste, will say this sugar is not proper, this is some salt only, not sugar. Whereas sugar dharma, sugar quality is to give sweetness. Same way living entity, we all being the part and parcel of the Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna. What is our duty? Is to serve Him. Just like a machine is there. In the machine, there are a lot of nut bolts, screws are there. Till the time those nut bolts and screws are attached with the machine, everything is working in peace and harmony. That nut and bolt has a value. It has a certain value. But as soon as it gets off the machine, it gets separated from the machine, it loses its value. It loses its value. Whereas with machine, it has certain role to be played. But as soon as it got separate, it is no more useful. It is no more useful. Similarly, we all living entities, we being the part and parcel of the Lord, we have a primary duty. And what is that duty? To act for the pleasure of the Lord, to serve Him, to act what He desires. Then we are safe. Then we are safe. We'll further read. Arjuna is a Kshatriya, and as such he is practicing in the Varna Ashrama Dharma institution. It is said in the Vishnu Purana that in the Varna Ashrama Dharma, the whole aim is to satisfy Vishnu. The entire Varna Ashrama Dharma is meant for what? For the pleasure of Vishnu, for the pleasure of Krishna. What is Varna Ashrama Dharma? There is 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. What are 4 Varnas? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. These are the 4 Varnas and there are 4 Ashramas. Brahmachari, Grasta, Vanaprastha and Sannyasi. These are 4 Ashramas. So when all these 4 Varnas people being situated in different ashramas, they perform their prescribed duties, it pleases the Supreme Lord. Just like in a nation, and a government officer is acting, performing his all the task on time, performing all his duty on time, whatever is required or expected from him, he is doing everything with sincerely. So what will happen? That government will be very pleased. His boss, his authorities will be very pleased, and there will be peace and harmony in the society because he is doing his prescribed duties, prescribed roles, what is assigned by the government very sincerely. Same way, this Varna Ashrama Dharma is created by Supreme Lord Himself. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvarna Maya Shrishtam. These 4 Varnas are created by me. For what purpose? So that society can be in a peaceful and harmonious way. It can be keep on, going on and make spiritual progress so that they can come out of the cycle of birth and death. Further, we'll read, no one should satisfy himself as in the Vedic, as in the rule, as is the rule in the material world, but one should satisfy Krishna. So unless one satisfy Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principle of Varnashrama Dharma. Indirectly, Arjuna was advised to act as Krishna told him. So here, very interesting point, that unless one satisfy Krishna, one cannot correctly observe the principle of Varnashrama Dharma. So essence of Varnashrama Dharma is what? To satisfy Krishna. These Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these 4 class of people are for what purpose? So that they can satisfy Krishna and make spiritual progress. But Brahmana, suppose Brahmana is there, he is working or acting, but he forgets that his main purpose is to satisfy Krishna or to act for the pleasure of Krishna. He acts whimsically. He wants to do what he likes. So what will happen? There will be disturbance in the society. That is first thing. And second thing is, he will not be able to make spiritual progress. This human life is completely meant for the purpose to make spiritual progress. That is the purpose of this human life, to come out of the cycle of birth and death. That is the purpose of this human life. So how it is possible? By acting for Krishna's pleasure. But when that Brahmana, he gives us activities, he is no more considered as a qualified Brahmana. Okay, we'll read the next verse. Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhavo shranam anvichha kripana phalahitava. Translation: O Dhananjaya, rid yourself of all fruitive activities by devotional service and surrender fully to that consciousness. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers. So here Krishna primarily has made very 2 strong statements. One is this and another is this. So we'll try to understand these 2 statements. So Krishna first is telling, rid yourself of all fruitive activities. What are the fruitive activities? Fruitive activities are those activities in which we want to enjoy the fruit of that certain activity, or we desire to enjoy the fruit of that activity and we enjoy the fruit of that activity is known as fruitive activity. Just like I want to perform any action. So whenever we perform any action, it is certain that there will be certain reaction to it. There will be certain fruit that will come from the activity. Whatever activity I may do, either positive or negative. Fruit is 100%. It is sure that fruit has to be come from that activity. Certain fruit will come. Whatever fruit may come, negative, positive, that is secondary, but fruit will come. So with that fruit, what I do, that makes the difference. That makes the difference. If I want to enjoy that fruit, so that person is known as miser. Or if I utilize that fruit in the service of Krishna, that is known as devotional service. So again, we'll try to understand, by performing any action, we get a fruit. And when that fruit is utilized in Krishna service, is known as devotional service. Same activity, when we get the fruit and when utilized for our enjoyment, that person is known as miser. Miser means kripana. Kripana means miser. And what is this miser? Miser is the one, suppose he has got crores of rupees with him, but he does not spend that money on his survival. Forget about luxury. He is not spending that money for his survival. So such person will be considered as a miser. He will be considered as a miser. So same way, why Krishna is using this word here, miser here, what it has to do. So Krishna, he is telling Kripana or miser here because we have got this human form of life. And primary purpose of this human form of life is what? To come out of the cycle of birth and death. But we get entangled in enjoying the fruits of our action. How we can come out of this birth and death cycle? By offering that fruit to Krishna. Because when we offer that fruit to Krishna, we get free from all kinds of good and bad reaction. But what happens when we want to enjoy that fruit? We get entangled in this material world. We sometimes we face happiness, sometimes we experience distress. All these are because we want to enjoy the fruit. So what happened? We get entangled in this material world. We get lost in this material world. So this human form of life was given for that purpose, but we not utilized that human form of life. So that person is miser. Just like a person has got crores of rupees, but he is not utilizing for living nicely. He is not utilizing that money for his survival also. Then what is the use? He is a miser. Same way, the person who has got human form of life, he is very blessed. He has a very higher duty to perform. Same action, same kind of duty, whatever we are doing. Sthane sthita, wherever we are situated, either we are working in a multinational corporation, or we are working as a sweeper, or we are working as a doctor, lawyer, in whatever situation we are working, we can serve the Krishna and get free from this cycle of birth and death. We'll read the purport, very interesting purport. One who has actually come to understand one's constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord gives us all engagement save working in Krishna consciousness. As already explained, Buddhi Yoga means transcendental loving service to the Lord. Such devotional service is the right course of action for the living entity. So this Buddhi Yoga is what? Is the devotional service. And devotional service is the prescribed or right course of action. Acting, devotional service means what? Acting, to act for the pleasure of Krishna, to satisfy him, or to act which is mentioned by Krishna, means the work which is prescribed by Krishna, that is known as devotional service. And that action is right for the living entity. Just like a doctor is there. Doctor, when we get sick, he gives certain medicines, he gives certain prescription. This medicine you have to take in the morning, this medicine you have to take in the evening. So such prescription he gives to us when we get sick. Same way, the creator of this existence, the Supreme Lord, who is the creator of this universe, about this existence, he has given certain course of action, what the living entity should do, how the living entity should do. All that thing he has given that prescription in the Shastras. So when we act as per those prescription, we are safe. We can get cure. Cure from what? Cure from material disease. What is the material disease? Birth, death, old age. All these are the material disease. We can get easily cure. But suppose if we don't take those medicines as per the prescription, so what will happen? Our health will get worse. It will get more sensitive. We may get more serious. We may get more sickness. All that thing will happen. So same way, if we don't follow Krishna's instruction, so what happened? We get more entangled in this material world, and we face more distress. We face more problems, and we always will be suffering. Why will be suffering? Because Krishna is telling this world is dukhalyam ashashvatam. Just like in Pustakalaya you get books, in Vidyalaya you get knowledge, Vidya. So in this dukhalaya, what you will get? Dukha, distress you will get. So Krishna is giving prescription, come out of this dukhalaya. He is advising. Now further we'll read. Only misers desire to enjoy the fruit of their work, their own work, just to be further entangled in material bondage. Here it is clearly mentioned. Miser, they desire to enjoy so that they can be further get entangled in this material bondage. Except for work in Krishna consciousness, all activities are abominable because they continually bind the worker to the cycle of birth and death. One should therefore never desire to be the cause of work. Everything should be done in Krishna consciousness for the satisfaction of Krishna. Miser do not know how to utilize the asset of riches which they acquire by good fortune or by hard labor. Just like a person get riches or wealth either by good fortune or by hard labor. But when he does not know how to utilize his assets or wealth, such person is miser. Because he is not properly utilizing it. He is underutilizing. One should spend all the energy working in Krishna consciousness, and that will make one's life successful. Like the misers, unfortunate people do not employ their human energy in the service of the Lord. So very clearly, one statement Prabhupada has given. One should spend all energies. Suppose somebody wants to eat something, so he should eat the prasad. He should first offer it that food to Krishna, and then he should eat. Suppose somebody is a singer, he want to sing, so he should glorify the Lord, he should sing for the pleasure of the Lord, he should sing the songs for the pleasure of the Lord. Just like Beatles, George Harrison, when he came in touch with this Krishna consciousness movement, he sang his songs for the pleasure of the Lord. Suppose somebody wants to do business, somebody wants to earn money, he should earn that money for the pleasure of the Lord. Suppose somebody wants to become an artist, you want to paint, you want to draw a sketch, he should try to make a sketch of the Lord, Supreme Lord. Just like yesterday or day before yesterday, somebody made Krishna's sketch and shared. That kind of paintings or sketches he should try to make. So when all the energies, all the talent we utilize in Krishna's service, our life will be successful. Or if not, directly we can utilize our talent in Krishna's service. Whatever fruit we get from that talent, we should try to utilize in Krishna's service. But misers, they do not employ their energies. So what happened? They get entangled. They get entangled. So this is a very important point, or this is the difference it makes when we try to serve Krishna and when we want to come out of this. Just like Krishna, he did not ask Arjuna that I am your friend, I will supply whatever you need, you do not need to perform your action. He did not say like that. In fact, Krishna asked Arjuna, you should fight. He did not told, I am Supreme Personality, you no need to work, I will do everything, you sit. No, he did not advise. What he said, you have to fight. And when this Arjuna, he fought, even though he was not having sufficient capacity to defeat Drona, to defeat Bhishma, Krishna empowered him. Krishna made the arrangements so that he could conquer Bhishma, Drona, and all such warriors. Just like an army person is there, that army person is on border and he's ready to fight on the order of government. So what happens? That government awards him with certain medals and all those things. Whereas that same army person, suppose he kills someone next to his neighbor, same government will hang him or keep him behind the bar. So activity is same. He is killing on the border on the order of government, but whereas in his neighbor, he is killing his neighbor for his sense gratification, for his enjoyment. So he will be behind the bars. So same way, our activity, same activity, when we do for the satisfaction of Krishna, it will please Krishna and will become spiritually progressed, and our activity, our life will become spiritualized. It will get spiritualized. But when we do same activity for our pleasure, our enjoyment, it will be the cause of bondage. It will be the cause of bondage. So what we should do? We should do the same activity for the pleasure of Krishna. It will get spiritualized and will be free from the action and reaction. Will be free from the reaction of that action. We'll read further. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubher sukrita dushkrite tasmad yoga yasva yoga karmashu kaushalam. Translation: A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad action even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, Arjuna, which is the art of all work. Here, Krishna is telling a man who is engaged in devotional service, a man who is engaged in bhakti yoga, such person is free from the both good and bad reaction even in this life. So Krishna is giving assurance here. Even in this life, one can be free from the all bad and good actions, even in this life. And such person who is acting on the devotional service, on the platform of devotional service, or the person who is performing bhakti yoga, that is the art of all work. He is an artist, in other words. So, we'll read the purport first, then we'll try to understand more in detail. Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto the Lord Shri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chained victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness, the purifying process of resultant action. So, this Krishna consciousness is what? Krishna consciousness, or acting in Krishna consciousness, is the purifying process. How it purifies? Just like water purifier is there. Water purifier removes all the contamination from the water. Same way, acting in Krishna consciousness is a purifying process. It purifies all the bad and good reactions. Now, why good reactions? Because both this bad and good reaction keep us in this material world. Good reactions we enjoy, bad reaction we suffer. So there is a cycle of happiness and distress. Sometimes we are experiencing happiness and sometimes we are experiencing distress. So both this cycle are going on and we are continuously suffering and enjoying, birth after birth, we are experiencing such thing. So to get free from this, we have to take up the purifying process. And what is that purifying process? Is the process of Krishna consciousness. And that process has been taught by Krishna himself in the Bhagavad Gita. So one can get free from chained victimization of action and reaction. Very nice word Prabhupada has used, chain victimization. Chain means you perform some activity, another is connected with that. So there is a continuation process is going on. Right? All that is, we can get free. There are a lot of suffering is going on across the world. Currently, we see this world is in very precarious condition. Now and then, so many incidents are happening, which are creating fear, trouble for the living entity. Just like recently, 2-3 days back, there was a plane which got crashed in Brazil. Some 60-70 people died in that crash. We think, okay, we are in safer situation. We are based in US. We are based in some nice country, developed country. We can save ourselves. we are in stable position, but that is not the truth. Just like some last month, Donald Trump, former president of US, he was attempt to be shooted. That bullet just touched the ear. Even though he is a former president, he is not in safer position. Before that, there are a lot of tensions are going on across the world between different nations, just like Ukraine and Russia, Israel, now Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, India, China, Maldives. All such tensions, precarious situation we have been bound up. Any time war can be declared, anytime anything can happen. We may face all these reactions of our past activity. So how one can be saved? How one has to be safe himself? That we have to understand. And here Krishna is telling yoga karmashu koshalam. The person who performs his work situated in yoga. Yoga means in connection with the Supreme Lord. That person is Kaushalam. Kaushalam means he is an expert. There are two types of person. One is who is very expert, and another is who is not so expert. Suppose some machine or our fan get out of service, out of work, is not working properly. So there is a person who comes not so experienced. He will be 1 hour, 2 hour, he will be trying to mess up with that fan. What is the problem? He will be trying to figure out what is the problem with this fan or air conditioner, whatever it may be. But suppose we get an experienced person, immediately within few minutes he will understand the problem and he will correct it. So same way, when we act under the guidance of Krishna or under the guidance of a devotee, we get immediately cure. And a devotee always act in relationship with Krishna. Nirbandha sambandha Krishna yukta vairagya uchyate. He act in relationship with Krishna. Nirbandhe means he has no relationship. He is detached. He is completely detached. But he accepts everything in relationship with Krishna. And such renunciation is the highest level of renunciation. There are certain philosophers or certain people who want to renounce everything, whether it belongs to them or not. They want to renounce everything. They want to renounce their desire, they want to renounce their actions, everything they want to renounce. Whereas a devotee, he understands that everything has a relationship with Krishna. So he accepts everything in that relationship with Krishna and he employ those activities, those desires in the service of Krishna. And that renunciation is the highest renunciation. Even though he is performing actions, same activity, it is highest level of renunciation. We'll read the next verse. In this verse, Krishna has given the solution. So how to get free from all such precarious condition that we are going through in the entire world, people are facing? That solution has given in this verse of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has given कर्म जन्म बुद्धि बुद्धि युक्त ही फलम त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्म बंध्वा विनुर्मुक्तः पदम गच्छन्ति अनामयाम. Translation: The wise engaged in devotional service take refuge in the Lord and free themselves from the cycle of birth and death by renouncing the fruits of action in the material world. In this way, they can attain that state beyond all misers. So what is the state of misers? State of misers get entangled in this material world. But the person who is wise, who is intelligent, such person engage himself in the devotional service on the platform of Bhakti Yoga. So when he is acting on the platform of Bhakti Yoga in the devotional service, he gets free from the cycle of birth and death. And how he gets free? By renouncing the fruits of action. How he renounced the fruit of action? By offering it to the Lord. So in earlier verses we read that Krishna is saying you have the right to perform your duties, but you don't have the right upon the fruit of that action. So now the problem is with the fruit of the action. That is the real problem. There is no problem with the action, but out of that action there is a problem with the fruit. So now when we engage that fruit in the service of Krishna, we get free. Otherwise we get bound up. So this precarious condition, what all the world is going through, when we take up the process of this Krishna consciousness, when we take up the process of serving Krishna, when we take up the process of devotional service, we can be freed from all such reactions. We'll read the purport. The liberated living entities seek that place where there are no material miseries. So, liberated living entities, they want such place where there is no material misery, there is no distress. Prabhupada at one place he says, this world is not meant for gentle person. The person who is a gentle, this world is not meant for him. But what he should do now? He is entangled, or he got up in this material world. What he should do? Prabhupada says he should perform his devotional service and get free from this situation. He should take up this devotional service immediately. And who takes up this devotional service? The person who is very intelligent, who is very wise. Yajanti hi sumedhasa. Sumedha. Medha means intelligent. Sumedha means very intelligent. There are so many processes. Or a person who is very less intelligent, he get caught up in various activities. He get entangled in those activities. Whereas the person who is very intelligent, he immediately take up the process of devotional service. There are people across the world. The person who is very intelligent, he questions, why I am going through all these miseries? What is the solution of all these miseries? Such intelligent person, by Krishna's mercy, from nowhere, he will get the opportunity to perform devotional service. Krishna will guide him in such a way that he will get a opportunity to perform devotional service. Just like Dhruv Maharaj, he was just 5 years old, but he want to get the kingdom which is bigger than his father. And when he came to know only Krishna can facilitate such thing, so he immediately went to forest to meditate upon Krishna. So Krishna immediately he arranged association of the devotee. He immediately sent Narad Muni, who guided him how he can perform his devotional service, and he got free from all sort of material sufferings. We'll read this further. Samashrita ye pad pallava palam mahat padam punah yasho murare bhavam budir vatsa padam param padam yad vipadam natesham. So we'll read this very interesting verse. It is, for one who has accepted the birth of a lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda or giver of Mukti, the ocean of material world is like a water contained in the calf's hoof print. Param Padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha, is his goal. Not the place where there is a danger in every step of life. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. Every step there is a certain danger is involved. And now we can experience this current situation of the world. We can easily experience such a situation that every step there is a certain danger is involved. Now, when we take up this process of devotional service, what is that? Boat of the lotus feet of the Lord. When we take up that process of devotional service, what happens? This entire Bhav Sagra, ocean of material world, which is full of distress and happiness, it becomes just like a water contained in the calf hoof print. This cow hoof print is very big, almost this size, but calf hoof print is very small. And how much water calf hoof print can hold? Very less quantity. So this material existence become like a water hold in the calf hoof print. Very easy to cross. Suppose an expert swimmer is there. He is left in Pacific Ocean. He is dropped in Pacific Ocean. Now he has to swim and come to one island which is situated thousands of kilometers. Even though how much ever expert he may be, he cannot cross that Pacific Ocean and reach that island to save himself. But the same person, suppose he get dropped in a small swimming pool, immediately he will be able to cross that swimming pool and reach the other side. Same way, when devotees they take up the process of this devotional service, they can be immediately saved from the distress of this material world. Now further we'll read. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place where dangers are at every step. Out of ignorance, only less intelligent persons try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking that resultant action will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within this universe can give life without miseries. So entire universe, wherever we go, it is not possible to get free from the miseries. Either we go to the moon, sun, Mars, this planet, that planet, Miseries will be always there. Whichever planet, whichever loka we may go, miseries will be there. We may go to the up to the highest planet, but miseries will be there. We may try to adjust, but still miseries will be there. Just like a frog. When you keep a frog in a water and keep boiling that water, so what frogs does? Frog try to adjust himself. He will be trying to adjust. And as temperature of the water is rising, he is trying to adjust himself. But eventually, at the end, what happens? That frog, he dies. Adjusting, he gives up his life. He die. So same way, less intelligent people, they try to make arrangement. They try to, make such situation in which they can save themselves, adjust, but it is not possible. What is the solution? To escape. Krishna is telling to escape from or to come out of the cycle of birth and death. That is the solution. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease, are present everywhere within the material world. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord and thus knows the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead engages himself in transcendental loving service of the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter into the Vaikuntha planet where there is neither material, miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's constitutional position means to know the sublime position of the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are on the same level is to be understood to be in darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in devotional service of the Lord. He becomes a Lord himself and thus paves the way for the repetition, birth and death. But one who understands that his position is to transfer himself to the service of the Lord, at once becomes eligible to the Vaikuntha Loka. Service for the cause of Lord is called Karma Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord. So, the person who wants to get free from the influence of this birth and death, he has to take up this, understand his constitutional position. What is his constitutional position? And when he start acting on that constitutional position, means to serve the Supreme Lord, he gets free from the cycle of birth and death. All kinds of miseries, all kind of distress he can get free from. Whereas a person who misunderstands and he thinks, rather than I being the servant of the Lord, he thinks I am only the Lord. I am the Lord. I am Bhagwan. What happens to such person? He paves the way for the repetition, birth and death. He gets entangled in that cycle only. I am the Lord means I want to enjoy, I want to exploit, I want to enjoy this material world, I want to enjoy everything. That person get lost in this material world itself. So a person has to understand his constitutional position by reading this Bhagavad Gita, by going through the scriptures, and when he understands his constitutional position and act on that constitutional position, he can get free from all sorts of miseries. And what is the key to understand the Bhagavad Gita? Anyone remembers? What are the key to open this treasure of Bhagavad Gita?
सर्वोपनिषद गावदग्ध गोपालनंदन पार्थवत्स सुधीर भक्त दुग्धं इतम अमृतं महत्। उपनिषद की सारा उपनिषद वेद उपनिषद की सारांश ही भगवद गीता है।
Yes, that is the essence. But to understand this Bhagavad Gita, what is the key to understand this Bhagavad Gita? Just like treasure is there, treasure box is there. Now to open that treasure box, you need a key to open that treasure box. So same way to open the treasure of Bhagavad Gita, what is the key?
Vasudeva Sarvam.
Prabhuji,
Krishna-
he should become like, we should become like Arjuna. We should surrender like Arjuna. So surrender is the key. And just like Arjuna, we should have complete faith in Krishna.
Okay. And another key, there are two keys.
We should go to a guru, Pramanic guru, and surrender and ask him to guide us.
Okay. Any other?
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Remember and surrender onto Krishna.
Remember and surrender unto Krishna. Okay. Any other? Any other key? It's a highly advanced lock. Only correct sort of key will open the treasure.
Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna.
Yes, that is there. That is the essence of all the Vedic literatures. So the key to understand this Bhagavad Gita, as mentioned, to submissively hear the message of Bhagavad Gita as Arjuna heard by surrendering to a bona fide spiritual master in association of devotees. One should submissively hear the message of Bhagavad Gita. That is one key. And another key is what? To serve Krishna. When one serves Krishna, he reveals this knowledge, confidential knowledge, to all of us. How one should serve Krishna? In different ways, best of our capacity. When we serve Krishna, Krishna reveals this knowledge to us. Our relationship with Krishna develops, get more stronger when we serve him under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master or devotee. When we serve Krishna, we can get this knowledge very easily. It becomes sulabha. Sulabha means very easy. Okay. So anyone has any question or anything to share or ask? So to summarize, when we perform action for the pleasure of the Lord, for the pleasure of Krishna, or the action or the activity which is sanctioned by the Lord or prescribed by the Lord, or when we perform the action or an activity in which we directly offer that fruit to the Lord, that action or that activity becomes karma yoga or ultimately bhakti yoga. Yoga means in relation with Krishna. And such person, he is the master, he is the expert Koshalam. He knows the art of performing all kinds of work. Just like here in Vrindavan, we are constructing world tallest temple or doing various activities in relation with Krishna. Okay, so we'll end here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.